Hey friends, this week I came across something online that honestly really pissed me off. I was watching a video from someone in the health and wellness space. She has a massive following on Instagram, hundreds of thousands of people listening to what she says. Her brand is built around a very holistic approach to healing chronic illness, which in itself is not necessarily a bad thing. There's a lot of value in holistic perspectives when they are presented responsibly. But in this particular video, she started talking about lipedema and the causes of it. And the way she was presenting the information sounded less like opinion and more like medical fact. According to her, the condition is essentially within a person's power to reverse if they just follow the right protocols, the right system that she teaches and sells. And that is where the problem starts, because lipedema is a complex medical condition, and doctors and researchers are still studying it. There is no universally accepted cure. There are treatments that can help manage symptoms, and some lifestyle changes can absolutely support people who are dealing with it. It is genetic according to many studies, and that is something she's trying to challenge in her little videos. But presenting something like this as though the solution is simple, or worse, that the solution sits inside a program or product you happen to be selling, is incredibly misleading, especially when the audience you're speaking to is already vulnerable. People living with chronic illness are often searching for answers. They want relief. They want hope. And when someone with a large platform speaks with certainty, it is very easy for people to assume that what they are hearing is credible information. What made this situation even more frustrating was the response when I challenged her claims. Instead of engaging in a thoughtful conversation, her response was essentially, "I can block you if you don't want to learn." And that, to me, is a huge red flag. Real experts welcome questions. Real experts explain their reasoning. Real experts do not shut down conversation when someone pushes back. So the more I thought about it, the more I realized that what I was reacting to was not just this one situation. It was the bigger pattern that we are seeing everywhere right now. People building massive platforms, presenting themselves as authorities, and attaching products to claims that are not always grounded in solid evidence. And while this particular example was happening in the health world, the exact same thing is happening in the financial world every single day, which is what I want to talk about today. Because when it comes to money, business, and investing, scams and misinformation are becoming more sophisticated, more convincing, and much harder to spot. So in this video, I want to walk through some of the most common financial scams that are happening right now, and who they tend to target, and a few practical ways you can protect yourself and your business. Because whether we're talking about health advice or financial advice, the real danger isn't just bad information. It's when confidence, authority, and a polished platform are used to sell solutions that people haven't learned to question. The deeper issue here is not just scams. It's the growing problem of misinformation being presented as expertise. We live in a time where anyone can build an audience online. Someone can have hundreds of thousands of followers, a polished brand, beautiful graphics, confident language, and still be spreading information that is incomplete, misleading, or flat out wrong. That does not mean that every person with a large platform is a scam artist, but it does mean that visibility is no longer the same thing as credibility. And unfortunately, people who are struggling, whether it's with their health, their finances, their relationships, or their business, are often the most vulnerable to these messages. When someone is looking for answers, they're likely to trust someone who sounds certain and confident. Scammers and bad actors know this. They know that if they can present themselves as an authority, people will listen. Sometimes the tactic is fear. Sometimes it's urgency. Sometimes it's hope. but the pattern is the same. Someone positions themselves as the person who has the answer, the cure, the secret strategy, or the opportunity that no one else is talking about. And then they attach a product to it. This is why it is so important, especially as business owners and entrepreneurs, to develop discernment. Discernment means slowing down long enough to ask a few important questions. Who is this person really? Where is their expertise coming from? Is this information being presented as opinion or as fact? And does the solution they are selling actually make sense? Because in today's digital world, confidence is easy to manufacture. Credibility takes a lot longer to build. Okay, I am back at my desk now because I have a list here of the most common financial scams to be looking out for in 2026. So Consumer Advice reported that in 2024 alone, consumers reported $12.5 billion lost to fraud, with more than $3 billion coming from scams that started online. So the methods are changing, but the psychology stays the same: trust, urgency, fear, opportunity. So the first scam, investment scams, including crypto scams. So what does that look like? It's someone promising a high return investment opportunity, often involving cryptocurrency, trading, AI trading bots, private insider opportunities. Sometimes they show fake dashboards with fake profits to convince people to deposit more money. So they contact victims through Instagram, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Telegram, dating apps, email newsletters. I just got a note from someone on Telegram yesterday. It's daily. It's crazy. So who do they target? They target entrepreneurs, retirees, people trying to build wealth quickly, and I mean, pretty much anyone. And it works because people want financial freedom, and scammers exploit that. So investment scams caused the largest financial losses of any scam category at about $5.7 billion in 2024, according to the Federal Trade Commission. So, and avoid investments promoted through DMs or social media, and never send funds through crypto wallets or wire transfers. Okay. The second scam I want to talk about is business email compromise, otherwise known as BEC. This is one of the biggest threats to business owners. So what this looks like: you receive an email from someone who appears to be your client, your boss, your vendor, your bookkeeper, your CPA, your lawyer, someone you know. And the email asks for something like an urgent wire transfer, updated bank information, or payment of an invoice. But the email address is slightly altered. So always check the email address. These people are targeting small business owners, finance departments, bookkeepers, payroll teams. They have tried to target me multiple times. So the way it works is they spoof or hack email accounts and then send realistic requests. So a way to protect yourself here is always verify payment changes by phone, use two-factor authentication, and implement email authentication systems. Number 3, government impersonation scams. I have had the same client get got by this twice within 1 month, and it was a big pain in the ass to get around it and fix it all. So what this looks like: government impersonation scam. Someone calls claiming to be from the IRS or Social Security or the FBI or the local police. And they say that you owe back taxes, that your Social Security number was compromised, that you must pay immediately. According to the Social Security Administration, government impersonation scams generated over 330,000 complaints in 2025 alone. They contact victims through phone calls, text messages, and emails. So to protect yourself, just know that government agencies never demand payment over the phone. If this happens, always hang up and contact the agency in question directly through their official website. Okay, the next scam we're going to talk about is phishing, smishing, and vishing. These are the most widespread scams globally. Phishing is email scams, smishing is text message scams, and vishing are phone call scams. TransUnion reports that nearly 46% of consumers report being targeted by phishing type scams. So examples of this are emails that say, your bank account's been locked, or you missed a delivery, or click here to verify your login. So the goal is to steal passwords, banking information, identity data. The way to protect yourself from this is never click links and unsolicited messages. Log in directly to your bank website. Use password managers. Okay. The next scam, account takeover fraud. Once scammers obtain your login information, they take over your accounts and they drain your funds. This often happens through the phishing that we just talked about, SIM card swapping, password leaks. Account takeover scams are growing rapidly as criminals combine phishing and identity theft. So the way to protect yourself, enable multi-factor authentication. It's a pain in the ass, but do it anyway. Set transaction alerts. Set it so that your bank is sending you text messages when transactions happen. And monitor your accounts frequently. Also a pain in the ass, but in this day and age, you have to. Okay, the sixth scam I want to talk about is one of the saddest. It's romance plus pig butchering investment scams. And this one is devastating. How it works is a scammer builds a romantic relationship online for weeks or months. This actually happened to a friend of mine not too terribly long ago. Thankfully, she didn't send money, but basically a scammer builds a romantic relationship online for weeks or months, and then they introduce an investment opportunity. And basically they show the victim, so the victim will see fake profits and invest more until the scammer disappears. So these scams combine emotional manipulation, fake trading platforms, and cryptocurrency payments. And generally they target people over 40, recently divorced or widowed individuals, and people active on dating apps. So, getting kidnapped is not the only thing you have to worry about on those dating apps. So y'all be careful, ladies, okay? Okay, number 7 on the scam list. I'm only going to give you 10. Social media marketplace scams. So we've all been on Facebook Marketplace. We've probably sold and bought on there. And this scam has exploded. So basically someone is going to list a car or a rental property or concert tickets or electronics. I was so excited about a camper van that I found on Facebook Marketplace a couple years ago, and I just couldn't believe the price. And I didn't even get close to getting scammed, but this is an example of that. If something's too good to be true, it usually is. So essentially what happens is it's like a rare item or something that you really want. And so the scam victim pays in advance because they want to hold it. They want the person to hold it for them so they can make sure no one else beats them to it. And so you pay, but then the product never actually exists. So social media scams now account for a huge share of fraud cases. So the protection steps here is never send deposits via Venmo, Zelle, Cash App, or crypto. You want to verify those listings in person. Take a friend. Okay, number 8 scam, tech support scams. So this is when someone claims that your computer has a virus or your bank account was hacked. They ask you to download remote software, which then gives them access to your computer. And then they want you to pay for repairs. But once inside your computer, they can access your financial data. And so this one typically targets older adults, especially because they are not as educated with the tech as some younger generations are. So the Wall Street Journal reported that people over 60 reported $4.9 billion in losses from scams in 1 year. So number 9, identity theft and synthetic identity fraud. This is becoming more advanced with AI. So criminals combine real personal data and fake information to create a new identity used to open credit accounts. So Experian reported that identity theft reports exceeded 1.1 million cases in 2024. So make sure y'all are checking your credit report once a year. You get a free one once a year. You could check it more. I check mine more, but you get a free report once a year. Okay, number 10, AI deepfake and voice cloning scams. So this is the next wave of fraud. Scammers now use AI to clone voices, create fake videos, impersonate executives. We have all seen examples of this. You just don't know what to trust online anymore, right? So an example of this would be that an employee receives a phone call from their CEO asking them to transfer money, but it's an AI generated voice. Experts say AI is becoming the largest emerging threat in financial fraud. So those are the 10 main scams that are going on right now in 2026. And smart people fall for scams too, because scammers use psychological tricks. Almost all scams use one of these tactics: urgency, authority, fear, opportunity, isolation. You must act immediately or your account will be frozen. Scams don't succeed because people are stupid. They succeed because scammers understand human psychology. They weaponize trust, hope, fear, urgency. So some cybersecurity practices that everyone should use, these are the ones that I recommend. Number 1, two-factor authentication. Use it everywhere. Number 2, password managers. Don't reuse your passwords. And don't give them to people. Use a password manager if you have staff that need access to whatever software you're using in your business. Enable financial alerts. You want to enable login alerts, transfer alerts, wire alerts. You can get texts sent to your phone from most financial institutions now. You want to separate business banking permissions. So like if you have a bank that you can, have limits on ATM withdrawals or transfers or daily spending limits and this and that. By the way, Relay Bank is a fantastic business bank. If you're not using that, I highly suggest it. Let me know if you want more information on that. But you can change all of this within the Relay business platform. So you want to make sure that you have approval rules in place for anyone who has access to your account. And then if someone else that does not have your permission to spend your money gets in, then there's going to be limitations to what they can do. Okay. Number 5, you want to verify payment requests. So you always want to verify this by phone. If you get a message on text, email, wherever that you're supposed to be paying something, you do not verify that through a text message or an email. You want to get on the phone with someone in the corporate office. Okay. You can freeze your credit. This prevents identity theft. So if you don't have anything that you're needing to use credit for right now, then freeze it. It doesn't hurt to do that. Okay. And number 7, use a dedicated email address. Get an email address that you're using only for banking and financial logins, because we are all living in the digital age. And so like you might sign up for this program or that program or this freebie or that freebie, or, you're using your email for social media. And if that gets hacked, then the scammer is going to see that. So it's better to have an email address that you're using for your banking and financial stuff that is not being given out to social media and to every business that you're signing up for their program. Okay. So in closing, at the end of the day, the best protection against scams is not just software or cybersecurity tools. It's critical thinking. The internet has made it incredibly easy for people to present themselves as experts, as we all saw in my rant beginning of this video. But not everyone who sounds confident is actually qualified, and not every solution that sounds good is grounded in reality. One of the most powerful habits we can build is the habit of pausing before reacting. So if someone is telling you that you must act immediately, then that you cannot question them, or that their solution is the only answer, that is usually a sign to slow down and take a closer look. Healthy skepticism is not cynicism. It is simply awareness. It means verifying information before trusting it. It means asking questions before sending money. And it means remembering that real professionals, whether they are in finance, healthcare, or any other field, should welcome thoughtful questions. Anyone who tries to silence questions instead of answering them is telling you something important about how they operate. So whether it is your health, your money, or your business, the goal is not to live in fear of scams. You don't need to wake up every day in fear that you're going to get scammed today. The goal is to stay informed and to stay curious and trust your intuition enough to step back when something doesn't feel quite right. Discernment is one of the most valuable skills you can develop in the modern world. And the more we practice it, the harder it becomes for scam artists to succeed. So thank you so much. I will see you for the next one next week. Bye. I hope this helps.